When we feel safe amongst our own, the natural reaction is trust and cooperation. When we do not feel safe amongst our own, the natural reaction is cynicism, paranoia, and self-interest. So the question is, how do you create a circle of safety? As it turns out, the human body is built the exact same way as any organization. If we want to direct the behavior of people inside our organization, what do? We develop all sorts of incentive systems. We give them a target, we give them a goal, we offer some sort of bonus, and what do people do? They work towards the goals that we set. We direct their behavior. It works perfectly effectively. It works the same way with children. We give them gold stars, and we get them to do the things that we want. It works perfectly fine. Inside the human body are certain incentives that work exactly the same way. And if you've ever had a feeling of pride, status, accomplishment, love, trust, friendship, loyalty, all of these feelings that I'll generically call happiness are basically produced by 4 chemicals inside our bodies. They are endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. And so, every single feeling that we basically know as happiness is controlled by these 4 chemicals. And what they're trying to do is incentivize us to get us to repeat behaviors that are in our best interest. In other words, to get us to cooperate, to get us to trust. It is our natural disposition to want to trust and cooperate, and we're always looking for it, which is why the sense of belonging is so powerful. We're always seeking out people who are like us. We want to be next to people who are like us. The first chemical, endorphins. We've all heard of an endorphin rush, a runner's high. Endorphins have one purpose and one purpose only: to mask physical pain. That's it. In our modern day and age, with supermarkets and cars, we don't really use endorphins for survival much anymore. But there are other ways you can get endorphins. Laughing, for example. When we laugh, it's actually an endorphin rush. You're actually convulsing your internal organs. And so endorphins are released to mask that pain. We've all had the experience where we laugh so hard we say, "Stop, stop, it hurts." It's because the endorphins have run out. Dopamine. Dopamine is the feeling you get when you find something you're looking for or you accomplish a goal you set out to accomplish. You know that remarkable feeling you get when you cross something off your to-do list? Oh, that's dopamine. This is why we are told that you must write down your goals if you want to achieve them. If you don't write down your goals, you won't achieve your goals. There's some truth to this. We're very visual animals. You have to be able to see the target. And then the dopamine directs us to stay focused on that target. The whole idea of metrics is to count progress, to make us feel like we're making progress towards the goal. We're not supposed to be obsessed with the metrics. We're supposed to be obsessed with the destination. Metrics are simply a way to help us feel like we're getting towards it. This is why we have a vision statement. They call it a vision statement because you have to be able to see it so that it focuses us towards that vision. The problem is most vision statements are absolutely useless. It's because they're abstract and we can't imagine them in our mind's eye. We can't see them. You know, so many vision statements are to be the biggest, to be the best, to be the fastest, to be the most respected. Respected by whom? Your mother? You can't understand this. What if I were to tell you, you'll get a bonus if you accomplish more? How much more, you ask me? More. Doesn't work. We're no good with the abstract. We need things to be specific. We need them to be visual. Most of the incentive systems that we have built inside our companies are dopamine incentive systems. They're individual incentives. We give people a target and we offer them a bonus. And we offer them, that is the primary means we drive behavior. And so what happens is people will do exactly what we want, and they will work for the dopamine, and they'll hit the first target, and then we'll give them another bonus, and we'll hit the second target, and you can become addicted. You can actually become addicted to performance. You can actually become addicted to making the numbers inside a company. And the problem is, like all addiction in time, you actually waste resources, waste time, and destroy relationships. Ironically, it is not the best way to get a company to grow. And the reason is because dopamine and endorphins are selfish chemicals. You don't need anyone's help to get them. Go for a run, work your to-do list, get your goals set, you're good to go. You don't need anyone's help, you can do it by yourself. The problem is the feelings don't last. They're very short term. You lose them quickly. As soon as you achieve something, nobody here is excited about the numbers they hit 4 years ago. It's gone. On to the next. And this is the problem. This is the problem. we actually work against each other. Too much dopamine in the system, we actually become more selfish, not more selfless. And as we know from the circle of safety, as we know, our best opportunities are to work together to face the dangers outside and seize the opportunities, not to work by ourselves. This is why the other two chemicals exist. Serotonin and oxytocin are the selfless chemicals. They are the social chemicals. They are the chemicals responsible for trust and loyalty and cooperation. Without these chemicals, we'd all be working by ourselves and we would not do very well. We're not very good by ourselves. The first one, serotonin, is the leadership chemical. It's this feeling of pride. It's the feeling of status. It's the feeling leaders have. This is why they walk like this. Right? It's responsible for self-confidence as well. Right? If you think about, there are ways to get serotonin. One of the ways to get serotonin is public recognition. This is why events are very important. Public events, company events are very, very important. Right? It's because when we put a room of our peers together and we single somebody out, we just like to single out Peter. Peter, can you stand up, please? Great job on the meeting today. We just want to say thank you. You did a superb job. Peter feels good. He feels his status rise. He feels valuable. You know, we all want to feel valuable amongst our own tribe. We all want to feel that our work is valued by our peers and our bosses. And so when we have it pointed out publicly amongst the group, it actually makes us feel good and valuable, and others see us as valuable, and we feel our status rise, we feel proud, and it builds our confidence. Serotonin works best when it's shared. What it's attempting to do is reinforce the relationship between parent and child, coach and player, boss and employee, leader and follower. It's attempting to reinforce the relationship between the person who sacrifices so that you may gain and the person who's the recipient of your sacrifice. And we like to work hard because we want to make those who sacrificed for us, we want to make them proud. We want them to feel that their sacrifice was worth it. That's why when we give an award to somebody, the first person they thank is God, their parents, their boss, their coach, whoever sacrificed so they could achieve something on this great day. It's the first person they thank. I couldn't have done it without their support, their love, their sacrifice. And if we give it to the boss or the coach and we give them an award, they stand up there and who's the first person they thank? Couldn't have done it without my team, they say. And the team sits there and goes, we love you. And it's shared. And what we do is we work hard for each other. The person who's responsible and in charge is reinforced to continue to give and see that they will achieve something great, and we continue to work hard to make them proud and prove to them that their sacrifice was worth it. We don't want to let people down. We're not accountable to numbers. We're accountable to people. We're constantly assessing and judging each other. Who's alpha, who's beta, who's dominant to us? It's not a fixed standard. It's a relative standard. If you've ever met someone and you're nervous meeting them, you're not the alpha. We've all had the experience where someone's met us and we can sense that they're nervous meeting us. You're the alpha. Right? We're constantly judging and assessing each other. We're hierarchical animals. You can't put a group of people in a room and say, you guys are all equals. It doesn't work that way. We always self-organize. And the reason is because when we assess that someone is alpha to us, we voluntarily take a step back and allow them to eat first. Our leaders get first choice of meat and first choice of mate. We may not get the best choice of meat, but we get to eat eventually, and we don't get an elbow in the face. Good system. To this day, we are perfectly comfortable with somebody more senior than us getting preferential treatment. Not a single person in this room has a problem with somebody more senior than you making more money than you. Doesn't bother us at all. We might think they're an idiot, but it doesn't actually bother us that they make more money. Nobody has a problem with somebody more senior having a better parking space or a bigger office. It doesn't bother us. In fact, we sometimes expect it. It's because we're proud to do things and shows deference to those more alpha than us, those that we have judged as alpha. And if you're the recipient of that deference, if you're the one called sir or ma'am, if you're the one who gets given a cup of tea as soon as you walk into the room even though you didn't ask for it, if somebody holds the door for you or carries your luggage for you, or you're the one making more money and enjoying all the perks, you feel the love, you feel valued by your tribe, you feel the serotonin, you feel your confidence rise, and it feels good. This is why we're all trying to vie to raise our status in the society, because it feels good. It comes with certain perks. It's good to be the king. And you should enjoy those perks. However, they don't come for free. There's a cost for being the leader, you see. As a Marine Corps general told me, the cost of leadership is self-interest. And he's right. You see, the group is not stupid. Yes, we gave our alpha this preferential treatment. Yes, we gave them first choice of meat. Yes, we gave them first choice of mate. Yes, we show them all this deference, and they get all that confidence as a result of all the serotonin. And the reason is because when danger threatens the tribe, we expect the person who's actually stronger, who's actually better fed, and who's actually filled with all that additional confidence to rush towards the danger to protect us. That's the cost of leadership. That's why we gave them first choice of mate, because they might die first, and we want to keep their genes in the gene pool. We're not stupid. That's what leaders do. They're willing to take the risk and sacrifice their perks or comfort when it matters to protect their people. You should enjoy all the perks, you've earned them. However, are you willing to sacrifice the numbers to save the people, or would you sacrifice the people to save the numbers? Only one of those choices makes you a leader. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is everyone's favorite chemical. It's the feeling of love, it's the feeling of trust, it's the feeling of loyalty, it's all the warm and fuzzies, unicorns and rainbows. Like I said, multiple ways to get oxytocin. One way, physical contact, right? This is why children hold on to us, makes them feel safe. It's why we hug the people we love, because it feels good. It's why athletes high five. It's why when someone's hurt or someone's depressed, we touch them, we kiss them on the forehead, we rub their leg and say, there, don't worry, it'll be okay. We put our hands on our friends' shoulders when we sense that they're tense, because oxytocin relaxes us, and it makes us feel safe, and it makes us feel that someone's there for us. And it gives us the confidence to try again because we know someone's there. You think business is about terms and contracts. It's not. It's about our pursuit to find circles of safety. Business is looking for human relationships to find people around whom we can feel safe. And this is one of the most valuable tools you have. Imagine you're about to sign a deal with someone, and you come to sign the contract. And they say, we're so excited, and you say, we're so excited, and you say, great. And they say, no, I don't need to shake your hand. Let's just get this contract signed and start the deal. And you go, great. And they say, no, I don't need to shake your hand. Let's just do this. I agree to all the terms. You just got all the terms you asked for, and yet their simple refusal to shake your hand, to create the human bond of trust, means one of two things will happen. You will either scuttle the deal, or you will go into it nervous, because they wouldn't shake your hand. Oxytocin, trust, safety. If someone does a good job or you want to criticize somebody, instead of doing it over email, stand up, walk across the hallway, knock on the door and say, nice job today. And if you can't do that, pick up the telephone. Pick up the phone and say, hey, just wanted to say nice job. And they'll say, is that the only reason you called? And you go, uh-huh. And they go, wow, I've done it. Watch it happen. People are amazed that you would spend the time simply to say thank you. Or if there is a criticism, that you would spend the time to pay them the service to do it yourself as opposed to on some email. Leadership is a sacrifice. Sometimes that sacrifice comes in terms of your comforts, your profits. Sometimes that sacrifice comes in terms of your time and your energy. And the best leaders are the ones who are willing to sacrifice for their people. Leadership is a choice. It is not a rank. I know many people at the top of organizations who are not leaders. And I know many people at the bottom of organizations who absolutely are leaders. And when you're willing to do that, and your people feel confident that you would do that, you are rewarded with their love and their loyalty, and they will gladly give you their blood and their sweat and their tears and sacrifice themselves to see that your vision is advanced. And the more oxytocin we have in our systems, the more good we want to do. It actually makes us more generous. And as I said before, it boosts our immune system, it makes us happier, it makes us healthier. Why? Because the human body is desperately trying to get us to look after each other. The greatest feeling we can get is when we do something nice for each other on purpose, so that we will do nice things for each other. And if we see people do nice things for each other, it makes us want to do nice things for each other. Why? Because the human body is trying to get us to look after us, ourselves. Happy people live longer. Happy people, oxytocin also does something to the frontal lobe. It makes you a better problem solver. It makes you smarter when you work amongst people with whom you trust. There's one more chemical I haven't told you about. It's called cortisol. The big C. Cortisol is the feeling of stress. It is the feeling of anxiety. It is the feeling of tension. It is the feeling you get when you're not sure what's going to happen. Cortisol is designed to do one thing and one thing only: keep you alive. It is an early warning alarm system. The problem is, cortisol is not supposed to stay in our systems. It's supposed to inject in our system, keep us alive if there's danger, and then leave. But when we work in companies, when we work in environments in which there is low-gauge stress all the time because we don't trust each other, drip, drip, drip. Someone comes to work and says, I think there's going to be redundancies today. And everybody goes, what? Now everybody's worried. Now everybody's paranoid. Now everybody goes tense. And guess what? Nobody's getting any work done that day. Because everything is about stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. We react the exact same way. We become paranoid. I know I shouldn't have spoken up in the meeting. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Because we don't trust each other. We fear that our leaders would sooner sacrifice us to save the numbers and would never sacrifice the numbers to save us. If we just know that that's the case and it happens every year, drip, drip, drip. That's why we have stress at work. It's because there's this low-grade cortisol in our bodies at all time. There's a problem with that. You see, cortisol is an oxytocin inhibitor. It doesn't want us to be empathetic when there's danger. It wants us to stay alive. Cortisol makes us unbelievably selfish, paranoid, stressed, tense. It literally inhibits the chemical that makes us happier, healthier, and empathetic. To find all that extra energy to make us paranoid and keep us alive, cortisol has to turn things off, non-essential systems. One of the systems it turns off is growth. We don't need your fingernails to grow at the time of danger. It also turns off your immune system. It's not supposed to stay in your system, but when you have low-grade cortisol in your body, what happens is it screws with your immune system. And so all of these diseases, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, are on the rise. Not because of partially hydrogenated oils or fizzy drinks. Our jobs are literally killing us. This is the effect of bad leadership. We are literally shortening the lives of the people who work for us. We are giving them cancer and diabetes and heart disease, and because they don't feel safe, we don't feel that they have our backs, and we're killing ourselves in the process.
Does this work differently with gender? Are men and women wired differently?
Yes, they are wired differently. Women tend to be more comfortable with this stuff. Because it's mushy and soft, you know? It's not that these things are mushy and soft, it's that just they're harder to measure, right? How do you measure the quality of trust? It's very hard. How do you measure if we made the numbers? Very easy. Testosterone is also an oxytocin inhibitor. This is why traditionally we like men to be policemen. I don't care what your excuse is, you're coming with me, you know? There's less empathy, right? Men have less empathy because of the testosterone. They do, biologically. It's an oxytocin inhibitor, which is why when you have, like an investment bank, a lot of men and a lot of machismo and a lot of competition, it really can be quite destructive. If there's bad leadership. You have it in the military as well, and it is not as destructive because there's good leadership. So yes, women tend to be better at this. I actually believe that we need more, it's not that we need more female leaders per se, it's that we need more leaders who act like females. Females just have an inherent advantage, you know? Traditionally, leadership has been male leadership. Aggression, make the numbers, unapologetic, make decisions, right? And yet the balance of the chemicals, which tend to be more traditionally female qualities, things like empathy, gratitude, patience, care, are things that are very important in all genders and all leaders. Women have an advantage of those. So once again, it's about balance. I tend to believe that great leaders actually come in pairs, mum and dad, you know? When we achieve something great in our careers, it makes our fathers proud. When we're good people, it makes our mothers proud, right? And so I tend to believe good leaders, even in companies, tend to come in pairs. You tend to have the more visionary, empathetic, people-focused. You tend to have the more operator, let's get this done, let's measure everything. And it's the tension of the two that actually make it very functional. It creates balance. Yes?
Simon, thank you very much. It's a bit of a follow-on from the last one, actually, but I'm interested in the difference between, or the triggers between, conscious thought and the kinesthetic feelings,
Yeah.
and how they actually, which are the alpha in there, and which leads which, and how can you turn them on or off?
Boy, these are hard questions. All of these chemicals are produced in our limbic brains. And our limbic brains are responsible for our feelings, and it's responsible for all of our behavior and decision-making. But it is not responsible for rational and analytical thought, and it's not responsible for language. We share the limbic brain and all these chemicals with all the social mammals. We're all the same. We have a neocortex, which is our Homo sapien brain, which gives us the capacity for rational and analytical thought and language. The problem with being human, the problem with the neocortex, is that we want to make sense of everything, and we want to explain everything. And so when we have a feeling where a gazelle just reacts to the feeling, we want to figure out where the feeling's coming from, you know? And so this can drive us mad, right? And it can actually feed it, good or bad. We create stories in our heads that can really make it quite maddening. What's quite remarkable about the conscious and subconscious brains, if you will, the conscious brain has access to the equivalent of 4 feet of information around you. So this is the information we access when we have brainstormings, or we do the pros and the cons, or we think about the problem, or we access our expertise, right? This is our conscious brain. The subconscious brain has access to the equivalent of 11 acres of information. In other words, every lesson you've ever learned, every experience you've ever had gets stored away. And the reality is the value of the brainstorming session is actually not the brainstorming session, it's the asking of the question, because your subconscious brain will continue to think about things, not really think, but think about things, even when you're not thinking about them, right? But if the question's never asked, it won't. So the value of the brainstorming is the posing of the question. And then when you're lying in bed, or go for a run, or in the car, or in the shower, all of a sudden you go, oh my God, that's the answer. Right? They come from nowhere. They didn't come from nowhere. It's because your brain is always working out problems and posing the problem at work and then allowing it to sit allows your brain to go into all those other experiences you've had and know what to do. This is why experiences and curiosity and talking to each other really matters, because you will file these things away and you will access them when you need them.